Well, welcome to ClearCast, the real estate fintech podcast. I'm so excited today to kick off our first episode of the season. And, normally we interview founders and co-founders of companies doing really interesting things between real estate and mortgage, which is why we call it real estate fintech. And for this first episode of the season, who better to kick it off than a company that's doing something really interesting between real estate and mortgage? That's ourselves, Clear Capital. So today we've got the CEO and co-founder Duane Andrews as a guest. We also have the CEO and co-founder of Restb.ai, which we'll talk more about how the two are getting connected here. We've got Xavi Hernando, and then we've got the COO as well of Restb.ai, Tony Costa. So I'm so excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for inviting us.
Yeah.
Well, likewise,
So
Kenon.
yeah, this is great. I mean, obviously these are all friends and this is a friends and family episode, but I mean, how relevant, this recent acquisition that Clear Capital just completed with Recipe AI. It's gotten, amazing feedback and response from the industry. And so, I just want to dig in a little bit more on this episode and give folks a sense of where this is going and how this came to be. So why don't we start with you, Dwayne? But I want to hear from everyone on what made you guys realize that there was this strategic alignment and opportunity between Clear Capital and Recipe AI.
Yeah. Clear Capital's always been an innovator from day one. I mean, Kenan and I, first day we met, we built REO Network together and at 6:30 in the morning in Walnut Creek, California. And then we innovated and built the first ever fully web-based system for valuation fulfillment and broker price opinions. It gave us a huge leg up. And then we innovated again with the CDA. We innovated again with being the first company to utilize cloud that we know of, utilize cloud computing and storage. And that took a while to get the industry to trust that technology, and now it's really the gold standard. Then machine learning came around in 2016. That was also people were skeptical of that, and I know it's getting good answers, but can you explain the answers? Well, look at the results. You won't believe the difference. So we led that technology. Then we led the floor plan technology and really mass introduced floor plan technology to everybody in the real estate industry. And so this next step is a really logical next step, in our opinion. It really mirrors a lot what we did with Kubicasa. And so I told my wife one Thursday night, I go, I'm going to Barcelona next week. And she looked at me like I'd said I was going to Ibiza. What? and so I called up David Lalo, GTCR, and he came right out, and a few of us others came out, and we knew right away when we met you guys at SB, that the cultural fit was there, and that was really an 80-90% of the reason we went. We said, are these folks cut from the same cloth, same ethics? They wake up in the morning, the same kind of things that drive them, and it was really obvious from minute one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
If I can say
Awesome.
something, I mean, this is always a very important decision in the lives of a founder. And as Dwayne mentioned, the fit was right away there. Company culture was like a line between the companies. I mean, the personal fit between the executives, because on the team was fantastic. And the fact that they were visualizing AI as the next big thing, that they wanted to use AI in order to increase and to be able to provide all these layers of data, property intelligence to customers and customer base and the industry. And we believe that for once, our mission was always being shared by Clear Capital, that we could build something great together. So for us as well was, in the first week, we made our minds.
You felt the same way.
Honestly,
I told somebody the other day, when we left after 3 days with you, I figured we were 80% mentally done. We were there after 3 days together. I think that's really rare. But it kind of shows the perfect match.
I mean, it's tough to make all these decisions, especially even when you are let's say, considering like to be acquired by a big player such as Clear Capital. But beyond being easy for us was actually like this is the natural next step, right? So with all the different capabilities that you guys have, all the amazing customer support, all the amazing, let's say, technology that might be driven by the QB team. I mean, that also was the perfect example on where we can mirror ourselves, like moving forward, and being, start moving from these, let's say, a small mid-sized company that is making an impact in the US, but right now, actually make our dreams come true, right? So making sure that we can actually expand naturally with you guys' support. So we were very pleased and excited, and I cannot, double down on everything that you guys said.
And Tony, that's a great point in terms of like there's all these seems like there's all these complementary capabilities and Duane, Clear Capital has really focused on as you said this kind of long history of innovation with this goal of providing confidence to the industry on property value, on understanding risk. What what are some of the gaps though that you saw in the industry that made you feel like this particular partnership was really important?
Timing is right, man. The amount of the computing availability, the power of that compute is incredible. So it used to be all about mass data, big data, but and which we had the big data, but driving anything out of that big data was really really difficult. This has sped up the timeline incredibly and lower. And actually, everybody talks about how expensive it is with AI, but when you think about what you have, what you get out of all of it, Soakly, it's really really inexpensive. It's much more expensive to do it the old way.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, AI has obviously emerged on the scene,
Yeah.
um, and 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 Restb, you guys have been focused on property intelligence, with AI. So why, how does timing figure in for you guys in terms of the availability of of AI property intelligence with what Clear Capital is doing?
On the Clear Capital side, that famous line that Mark Andreessen said that software is eating the world. But truly now AI is eating software completely, and it is
Mhm.
happening faster and faster and faster. We had to either jump on the boat, so to speak, or not. And so yeah, we jumped on a boat to Barcelona, and we're thrilled about it. And yeah, it is going. They has spent 10 years building what they have now. This is not a 1 year startup taking a flyer. These guys have been really grinding it hard, doing trial and error, making mistakes, learning what works, what doesn't for 10 years. And we were so fortunate to be able to join forces and get and glean all those 10 years and what they have learned and rapidly implement things that would have taken us we say internally at least two, but I say kind of internally at least two if we ever accomplish what they have because the level of focus that requires. That is really a high, it's a very
Yeah.
specialized field. And so it is a perfect fit.
I think that there's a lot of truth on what Dwayne said, and that for us was okay. We are seeing an increase on the adoption of AI from the real estate industry from the US. I mean, we're seeing that we need more capabilities, we need more resources in order to be able to keep up with demand. We need to grow faster. So for us was we need a partner that help us grow, help us being able that help us provide all these solutions and products and layers of data and property intelligence to the market. And that's why I think the timing works perfectly here between both companies.
And let's not forget about the industry. I mean, the industry is actually accelerating towards like digital, data-driven workflows. So making sure that we were part of Clear Capital actually let us have, let's say, our technology in the hands of way more customers. Um, right now, we are receiving like every day, like more requests from every single part of the valuation process, like from appraisers to AMCs to the lenders to the GSEs on, how we can get, let's say, more data-driven insights. We saw, as Dwayne was saying, like the AI we believe that has reached its maturity. So right now we are not talking about 2016 or even before that when we started. So I think that the industry generally believes that the next step is like how they can take advantage some of these technologies to make all these workflows and processes way, way better.
Yeah,
And
Ken, I was reading on the why
mhm,
now thing. It's really now for everybody, not just Clear Capital. I was
mhm.
just reading this book called Code Red about AI, and there's this quote by Sam Altman. After thousands of years of compounding scientific discovery and technological progress, we have figured out how to melt sand and some impurities, arrange it with astonishing precision at extraordinary tiny scale into computer chips, run electricity through it, and end up with a system capable of creating an increasingly capable artificial intelligence. This may turn out to be the most consequential fact of all human history so far. So it's all happening in such a compressed period of time. All those thousands of years, like he talked about, are being compressed into this one short period of time. We have, yeah, it's go. It has to be,
Yeah.
and we're help the industry go and benefit from it.
Yeah, that's really interesting how, AI has obviously taken on an incredible velocity of change and impact. And what's cool about this is it seems like, what we're talking about is like taking the potential that's being applied to other industries and now focusing it here,
Yeah,
within, real estate and housing finance. And real estate historically has had a lot of unstructured data, a lot of images and video and all kinds of things that are out there. I mean, Xavi and Tony, maybe give us walk us back a little bit on like why you guys decided to tackle this problem, and then how has
Yeah.
AI, helped you deal with all of this unstructured information and brought it to something that provides benefit.
Yeah, for us, the mission of the company was to unlock all the potential value on the hidden on property images on every listing. That's why Restb was created, to use AI to leverage AI in order to be able to extract all these visual insights. At, at the end of the day, real estate professionals can make decisions based on the data they have. We thought that unlocking all those years of property intelligence and visual insights and providing that to real estate professionals across the different segments of the industry could like increase a lot the accuracy on those decisions and the speed at what those decisions can be taken. So that was more or less the philosophy of why we saw this merge on, or why we saw back in the days that we could apply AI on the real estate industry, and that's the mission that we follow since day one.
Take into account that all these insights that you can find in the property images, at least so far, or even today, let's say, have been required of a lot of manual interpretation. That is, as we all know, let's say, super expensive, super inconsistent, inefficient. And if you look at trying to do that scale, I mean, it's impossible. So the only way to try to do that is if you put, let's say, some technology that obviously has been trained and understands, let's say, the reality of the real estate industry. And we make sure that we can structure and standardize, let's say, all these different information or data points that you have in the images. So I think that that's something that it has never been available before. And right now, this kind of technology, information that we have been able to structure, combined with
Yeah.
all these other layers that, CubiCasa, Clear Capital has, I think that here we can actually unlock a lot of insights, workflows, and processes that we can make sure that the industry gets a huge benefit out of it.
So it's interesting you talked about manual, interpretation of this. So, so there's these, quantitative and qualitative aspects of understanding, property images, and you guys have really focused in on condition and quality, which typically has been I would think more on the qualitative side, right? In terms of interpreting and understanding a lot of different variables to get to condition and quality. So, maybe for all of you, tell me like why is condition and quality such a big deal when it comes to understanding property risk and understanding valuation today.
You
You
want
want
to
to take
take that,
it,
Tony?
Xavi, or okay, I can take it. I mean, based on everything that we have seen, and actually I'm sure that obviously at Clear Capital you have seen that as well, is like condition and quality have been arguably the most impactful variables in the property value. So, and actually, as we mentioned before, it's been almost, let's say, the hardest to capture in a consistent way. So for us, it was very important, like to try to make sure that this data was completely well structured, um, trying to make sure that we rely um, heavier on the different existing standards that the GSEs have, especially in the States. As you may know, this hasn't been standardized anywhere else in the world. So this is a unique market where actually have some sort of a standard that support the way that we can organize that. And today, valuations, as you know, we have been heavily relying on appraisers' judgment, subjective interpretation, and actually that, as we all know, leads to variability and unfortunately to repurchase risk. So as we look at the level of services that we want to provide to our common customers, especially on the AMCs, lenders, and the GSEs, we want to make sure that reduce that down the line and we can provide more objective data points where they can actually make like more trusted decisions. So at the end of the day, it's about relying on the standards, but at the same time applying them very consistently and making sure that we don't rely on our own kind of human bias that we all have.
Yeah, I think condition and quality affect the quality of life for the occupants, and so you've got location, location, location. Everybody talks about is number one driver of value, and that's also quality of life, of course. And then size of the property, that's also quality of life, room to move. And then floor plan, bedrooms, bathrooms, how it flows. But after that, it is quality and condition. What are the textures like? Is it visually pleasing? Is it floor to ceiling windows or are there little portholes? All of those things impact quality of life, and we can determine these things through computer vision. Every one of those, and make it not take the guesswork out of for people, and for computer models take a lot of the guesswork out altogether.
Well, that sounds a lot like too what I've heard Kubicasa talk about with understanding if the property is the right fit, for your
Right.
way of life or for life. And it sounds like is this adding on additional information about that, or is this reducing maybe blind spots and not understanding how the property might work for someone's quality
Yeah.
of life? Is that how you see it, Duane?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's pretty amazing the the very you guys Restb has very few false positives, like the identification of damage or of something that could be viewed as a negative. Yeah, they do a really good job of being accurate with their when they identify something as a positive or a negative, and they're careful about that. And I think it's just one of their responsibilities. Yes, but as we learn more and get more training data, we can expand the box on that and still make and get more insights over time. But that takes human intervention, and that's something that well, to stay ahead is going to continue to take human intervention and fine tuning that. So this is not a plug and play. This is dynamic. This is a living being that needs to be fed. And
Exactly.
yeah, and so yeah, we provide Kubicasa, Clear Capital helps provide some of that food for Restb.
Yeah. There's a few things when we build models internally that are very important. One is the explainability, the ability that our models have, and the ability that we have to understand why models are making the decisions that they are making, and for us to check why or what's triggering that decision and that output from each model. We work a lot on that. We work like using saliency maps sometimes in order to understand what pixels on images triggered an output and not another one, and then how robust and are the models across different iterations and improvements. We have different data sets that we use always to track progress, to make sure that the model is learning additional things, that it's expanding in front of knowledge, but maintaining or improving accuracy at every stage of that process. So we have set all these processes internally, and those are extremely relevant for us as well to keep up with.
Yeah, that's great. You know, let's put ourselves for a second into the, into the realm of lenders and, perhaps ones that are looking for how they would apply this technology to problems that they're facing. And let's talk a little bit about, how the industry benefits from this. So Duane, how do you see it, I guess, in terms of the challenges that lenders are facing today?
Yeah.
And if they're reading this announcement or seeing what Restb and Clear Capital are up to, but what are some of the challenges that this partnership will solve for them?
Yeah, in the short term, really their biggest challenge is going to be UAD 3.6 adoption. That's where their lenders' focus is going to be. It just
Mhm.
is. They have to. So that is going to be their technology suck, and they should be for the next probably year. So looking at modern, looking at new and innovative tools, that they probably won't be looking for those until, and I said it'll happen again. Saw it in 2016. We thought 2021 there will be an uptick in the volume of loans, and when that time comes, and it's been 4 years now since it's been, or nearly, but that the things run in cycles. When that time comes, there's going to be a clamoring for modern, faster valuation tools, and because the industry, the old school industry, just can't support it. There's just no way. We felt that, like I said before, it's even worse now. The number of appraisers are less, and the challenges with UAD 3.6 as appraisers get used to it. It's also going to exacerbate a bit for the short period of time. So that is where it's going. And when modern hits, that's when a lot of the Restb tools become really powerful. As we migrate toward being able to use interested party data collection over time, as we migrate over time, and it'll take a long time, but that's where the GSEs are going, and that's where the industry is going. So after the modern gets adopted, and cost savings are there, industries feels comfortable. Yeah, it will continue on to the private side too. That's how I see the migration going with the tools that we're
Mhm.
building.
Mhm. Yeah, the JC setting the standard and
Yeah,
seeing that
right.
continue on. I mean, efficiency, that sounds huge. Xavi and Tony, aren't
Yeah.
you all involved as well on the quality assurance side of things? Is it possible to have efficiency and quality improvements at the same time?
It's possible. So taking a step back, one of the things that we discuss always is that this partnership is about bringing more to the industry. So AI is not a replacement for human judgment. It's an input that makes human judgment more informed and consistent. So what we are trying here to provide is like that when an appraiser or lender receives the structured AI-generated data on condition, quality, features, everything that Raspberry is providing, they can focus their expertise on interpreting that data to make better decisions instead of rather than manual and data collection, which is not where they should be focusing on. So by us providing better data, but us providing more layers of property intelligence, what we're trying to bring these professionals of the real estate industry is to make better decisions even faster than before. So that's all we are trying to approach the industry here, bringing more to the industry rather than replacing anyone or automating any processes. That's not what this partnership is about.
Even linked to that, my comment before, Kenan, like when we were talking about like the repurchase risk as an
Hmm.
example. So often this, let's say, traces back to like the data quality issues. So there are missing data in the public records, photos that were not taken. So providing better data upfront let's say, to the appraiser might mean, let's say, fewer surprises, fewer delays, more confident decisions that they can make as a human beings because they are the experts. So then, as we talk about submitting that to an AMC or moving to the lender, so let's imagine how faster that could be with better data capture rate upfront. So I think that this is very correlated with what Charlie was saying. It's like how we can make sure that we can help the humans to do their job better, faster, and end up, let's say, benefiting the industry and the different players that we are working with.
Yeah, I love the focus on U83.6 as the perfect, use case situation going on that
Yes.
this partnership right now could help with that transition because U83.6 means a change to, underwriting in the way that, people, look at information. It means a change to the manufacturing process of the appraisal upstream and new tools being put in place. I mean, it's a time of a kind of massive change in the industry. And so, Duane, you know, I like how if that's the focus right now,
Yeah.
seems like this is a great timing, right, to apply, the capabilities of these companies, together towards it. Does this help actually ac accelerate the industry towards more of a modern approach to appraisal?
Yeah, totally did for everybody. It's similar with Kubicasa. We sell and work alongside and fine tune Kubicasa alongside even with our competitors. The same thing. We want the industry to flourish. Without a healthy industry, we got nothing. We just got more pain. So any way we can help the industry become more efficient and have more confidence and streamline the process for borrowers, and therefore reducing friction and reducing headaches for everybody in the whole process, we're in. And then that's the Restb idea. How can we utilize Recipe to answer not only answers the question of the blind spots that we have internally, but also in the industry at large, and that's our focus. Same with Kubicasa. I think it's a beautiful and fun model. Uh,
It
I,
is.
I can see the fun. I can see the fun with all of you. That this is something you guys are excited about, working on together, and I'm certainly excited about it. I take my host hat off for a second. I I can't wait to see what we come up with. But okay, putting the host hat back on again. So from an AI standpoint, though, whenever we do talk about AI and the increased use of AI within valuation within real estate, of course, the questions of trust, transparency, accuracy all come up. So Xavi and Tony, I love to hear what the idea of responsible AI means to you all,
Mhm.
and how you all have worked on AI being adopted by these, very important types of decisions, if you will, for real estate and finance.
Yes, as we were discussing before, it's very important that AI is explainable, but not only that. So responsible AI in real estate means producing outputs that are explainable, auditable, and grounded on real data. So not opaque or like non-transparent algorithms that can be reviewed. So it has been always our main goal and our duty to meet the requirements of lenders, appraisals, and GSEs. So in order to be developing our models and products in line with industry standards, it has always been top of mind for us and one of our goals. And I don't know, Tony, if you want to add something on top of that.
I mean, correlated with what you said, which is, I think, the most important part of it is like we approach AI like as a tool that augments the human decision making, as we mentioned before. So the final judgment always needs to stay with the qualified professional. So,
Mm.
but by doing that, as Xavi said, we need to make sure that our outputs are explainable, and actually the trust, is built on this consistent performance and transparent methodology. So this is why we have been heavily investing on this kind of model validation and partnering closely with industry stakeholders, just to make sure that we are actually delivering something that makes sense to the industry and the world. So not that an opaque, closed, let's say, black box that cannot be decrypted, which is actually something that they don't want. So we need to make sure that we align with that.
Yeah.
We don't want that at all. And every day, every year, AI will be more present in our lives, in our industries, in our around us. So I think that having these goals and these like guardrails in place is extremely important in order to moving towards the future. And that's why since day one we have tried to apply here at Restb.
And
Duane,
maybe
you
just,
go ahead.
adding only the last item on this, Kenon, is also about bias. So,
Mm,
which has been a
Yes.
big topic in the industry for the last, let's say, few years.
mm,
So all our models are completely trained without any bias. So as an example, when we have like pictures that we are labeling, so we never know where this property is located. We don't know any information about that. It's a completely disassociated, let's say, exercise that we do. So we take always this kind of sometimes location-related bias, or not to talk even about racial bias or any other bias that you can
Right.
imagine. So it's something that for us has been completely agnostic models that we have been building. And I think that made a complete difference in terms of the results that we are delivering.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony, for keeping a focus on the bias side. Even though we're hearing less and less about it, we still need, as a company, we need to keep a responsibility to everyone in the world to do what we can on that end. So thank you.
Yes.
yeah, that's great to think about it as I think, and you mentioned it before, Tony, on the idea of condition and quality, providing a standard approach to that. And
Yeah.
as we know, like different people and different um, based on how they were trained or maybe how they apply it in their local market, think about condition and quality maybe differently. So employing a national standard has been a difficult thing, but it sounds like this is possible now with AI.
Yes.
So rather than AI becoming a larger risk, there's actually opportunities to reduce risk by increasing transparency and consistency. Um, Duane, you mentioned Clear Capital has been involved in machine learning since 2017. Um, how do you think about the balance between, automation, automated values with also being compliant
Yeah.
in a regulated industry?
Yeah. It actually becomes easier to be compliant, in my opinion, because
Mm,
it's measurable. It's objective. It's not subjective. It's not, and so it's easier to be compliant. And the GFCs have done a fantastic job also of utilizing risk-based decisioning, but not just saying that and then implementing it. They actually track it and the performance by different products and different tools. And thereby, I think you're really helping protect everybody out there, seeing what works, what doesn't, and what tool is appropriate for different products. So they're helping the entire industry along those lines to help be compliant, actually. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love that. And is there an opportunity for there to be more of a standardized source of truth for what a property is? I mean, Tony, you just mentioned the idea, right, of like it's not just about, the the location or around it, but understand the difference between location around the property versus what the property actually is. I mean, are we moving
Mhm.
more towards that, Dwayne, where you can
Yeah.
actually, nail what a property is at a
Yeah.
given time? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It totally is, and it's going to keep growing. As we extract more knowledge out of imagery, especially, and have more opportunity for disparate data sets too, and being able to bring those in. Data sets from the insurance industry and different types of products, data products to include increased fidelity of our data. Yeah, there's no doubt it's going to keep getting better, but you touched on something that's super important is that the human in the loop to keep ahead of
Yes.
it, and
Mm,
yeah, and that's one thing I keep hearing that after a while the models won't need people. That is, I really disagree with that. That we can always get better, real and just like with anything else, the first 95% is the easy part. The last 5%, that's the tough part, but that's not that last 5% is important. bad decisions happen if you don't have those 5% answered. It means 5% of your decisions are at risk. So it's worth putting that human effort in to close the gap on that remaining 5%. And without human intervention, I don't know a way to do that confidently, be myself. And I don't think that's going to change over time.
Mm. That reminds me of I think Xavi and Tony, I've heard you use this phrase, domain specific AI.
Mhm.
Is that what that's about, bringing like domain, both the best of kind of human and machine expertise with this particular industry in mind? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, yes, when we refer to domain specificics, we are not trying to solve every problem, uh, every generalistic problem on computer vision, on AI. What we are trying to do is that we're trying to use the cutting edge AI computer vision models in order to specifically solve and provide more to the real estate industry. We're focused about the problems and specific data points that the industry needs, and that's why we have been since we started this journey. So when we talk about domain specificities, that we have been looking at what the industry needs, and we have been building everything that we have tailored to the industry specific problems and the data they needed. After talking with the professionals and the different segments, appraisal, valuation, mortgage. So we understand the challenges that they have, where are the blind spots, where are the missing data points. And that's what we have been developing since the inception of Restb. Other approaches are much more generalistic. They try to solve computer vision. Computer vision is extremely difficult problem to solve if you're trying to solve it for every use case, for every domain. So we understood right at the beginning that we wanted to find a niche where visual insights were like extremely relevant in order to make decisions. And that's why we started Raspberry with domain specific mind focus on real estate.
Yeah, love that. All right. Well, since we're applying this domain specific to the housing ecosystem, I'd love to hear from you all on, as you look forward, right? So this partnership just got announced like, 3 weeks ago now. So as you look forward, Duane, I'll start with you. What
Yeah.
excites you the most about this partnership and bringing it into housing? What give us a sense of like where you're headed and what you're excited about.
Yeah, I'm excited that we're aligned, almost naturally aligned to where we want to go. And that is building a human-centric evaluation machine. Just an evaluation machine, but it's human-centric though. It's human-centric. I already mentioned, for fine-tuning the models, training the models, keeping the models up, top. Customer service, which is way historically underrated in the technology industry. Man, just keeping that top shelf customer service. When somebody calls, we answer the phone. We're here to help solve the anomalies alongside you mentality.
Mm.
And three is it's human centric in that it answers the customer's questions in a very understandable way, in a very accurate way, and inexpensive and fast way. But it answers their questions that are actionable. Then they get the answers from us. They can go take action. They get the answer from us. They can just go take action. So that needs to be the customer experience. They can't be
Mm.
staring at a spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers on it and wondering what to do next. we're here to help because of the richness of the data. We're able and the ability to the compute capabilities. Now we're able to help you answer those questions in a confident manner.
Yeah.
So evaluation machine, Keenan.
Mm.
A nice concept.
Nice concept, yeah.
It really
You
is.
sound
We're building. It really is.
I mean,
okay. Good.
thinking further on that, Dwayne, it's like, I mean, the idea that every property decision, like, for lender, appraiser, agent, buyer, the fact that it could be, let's say, more complete with more reliable data that has been ever available thanks to the QB Casa, the Clear Capital Analytics and Insights, and Resby, let's say, data enrichment, let's say, from how you look at the property today, let's say, not in the past, like what's real based on what we are seeing on different media files that you have. I mean, for me, it excites me the most. I mean, as a
Yeah.
data geek as well, let's say having access and being able to play with all of that and making sure that we can help, let's say, from every single actor in the industry, that's actually very, very exciting.
Mm.
I agreed totally.
So, Tony, I guess applying AI kind of specifically then to looking ahead in the next 5 years, how is AI going to change the way that valuation and real estate are done, 5 years from now? What do you think the impact's going to be?
The rate of the speed of the evolution of everything that's going on in this field, who knows? But the reality is that I truly believe that AVMs will become significantly more accurate. So I think that we are going to, because we are going to give them access to all of the visual insights of which was a complete blind spot, as we mentioned on the podcast before, and being able to blend in the condition, the quality, features, architecture styles, all these data sets that Duane mentioned before that potentially can even enrich that more. Um, I think that we are going to be able to get like completely accurate valuations real time that might change on every single economical factor. Even the concepts of the hybrid appraisals or you know where AI provides this data layer and the professional provides a judgment. I think that will become the standard rather than the exception. So we are going to see, let's say, faster turnaround times, um, or even on the search and discovery, right? So when a buyer is looking for a home, let's say natural language, visual AI, I think that will transform how, as a buyer, we see properties. So I think that it will feel more like searching from what a home feels like rather
Mm.
than just it expects. Let's say I'm looking for a 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. I mean, I think that that might change a little bit as well. So again, there are plenty of things, but I think that these two or three might be very basic, but things
Mm.
that I'm sure that will go that path.
So maybe we'll start here with Chavi, but to kind of wrap this up as put a final point on this, I'm wondering if you could all kind of describe in one sentence what it is you're building together. And it could also be one sentence about the impact, right, that would be created through this partnership. So lightning round, Chavi, what's one sentence on describing the future of what comes out of this relationship? Ready,
It's
go.
difficult to summarize in one sentence. I have a sentence that we have written here that it's very good. It's not something very creative, but it's very true and it provides a lot of value. And for us, it's a wall where every property decision, from listing to lending, is powered by complete, consistent, and trustworthy intelligence. So that's what we're trying to bring. That's what was the mission of Resby, to be able to empower all real estate professionals with the hidden value and the hidden property intelligence in every single picture, in every single image, in every listing. And I think that we are multiplying that by 10, we're accelerating that by 10 with this partnership with ClearCapital and Covicas, and we're extremely, extremely excited about that.
Awesome. I love the trustworthy intelligence. All right, Tony, can you do better than that? Can you shrink it down to one sentence or no?
Sorry about
Okay,
that. Sorry about that. I got
let,
excited.
let,
Got excited
let, let,
here.
let me try to shrink it. Let's say turning every property photo in a confident decision. Let's call it that way.
Uh,
Yeah, I love that. Okay. All right, Dwayne. Dwayne, can you
uh,
bring it home?
yeah, we're not about disruption. We're about transformation, and assisting the assist dot dot dot. So still the same sentence. Dot dot. Okay, assisting the industry to harness the power of data and AI combined to make to benefit borrowers and investors alike. Really,
Mm,
yeah.
love it. Love it.
That's one sentence.
Well,
Long one, but it's
yeah,
one.
okay. I'll love it. Let
I'll
me
take
talk to the
it.
judges. Let me talk to the judges, and okay, they seem all right with it. It's one
All
sentence.
right.
What about you, Kenan? Can you give us your sentence?
Oh, I see. I see. Turning the tables. Uh, I would say that this reduces blind spots in a transformative way that leads to greater automated confidence in property decisions.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
I mean,
Like it.
really, everything you guys have said here in this podcast is you talked about the importance of keeping people in
Yeah.
the loop and helping them make better decisions. You've all talked about, you know, increased transparency. You've talked about it being more compliant. It's kind of interesting, like you guys have all summed this up by like how this is going to help people do their jobs better
Yeah.
and more efficiently and reduce risk and help them with standards. So yeah, I really enjoyed the conversation. It seems like you guys are on to a new era, if you will, in valuation and real estate. So excited to be a part of it. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
being guests, and look forward to seeing what comes out of this.
Thank you, Kenan. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much,
Kenon.
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks.